economists are the ones who are saying that a recession is coming because Donald Trump has done nothing about it.
Get your pom-poms. Keep rooting for American failure. It served you well last November.
Okay, so it turns out only 36% of Americans trust the mass media or the mainstream media. So in this video, we will go over all of the most recent meltdowns surrounding this topic. However, we also have Democrats turning on one another, which also leads to the distrust of the mainstream media. And oh, by the way, apparently the Epstein files have been released, but not really. We will get into that as well. So before we start the video, please like the video. It's the #1 way you can help this channel, and it helps others see the videos as well. Let us begin.
About it, but Alex Thompson of Axios and I have spent the last several months talking to more than 200 insiders and officials and donors and activists, more willing to talk post-election, of course, to explain the last couple of years in politics and how we as a nation got here. With never before heard stories from behind the scenes, you will not believe what was really going on.
You literally can't make this up. This is Jake Tapper, a CNN news anchor who has a new book coming out uncovering the hidden secrets, how Joe Biden's cognitive decline has been hidden from the American public this whole time. However, this is also Jake Tapper defending Joe Biden not too long ago.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline. Okay. That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable
you have
to
no
watch somebody on stage
that's so amazing. It's so amazing to me
and try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter.
Believe it or not, it's about to get even worse because we have Joe Biden's press secretary who's now come out and said, I cannot believe how many Democrats have turned on us at the last second. People we trusted. Watch this clip.
What was happening with leadership in the Democratic Party and how it was truly, as my former colleague, communications director Ben LeBolt said, it was a firing squad. And I had never seen anything like it before.
Oh, and by the way, it gets even worse because we have Rachel Maddow from MSNBC who turned on her own bosses for letting go or canceling Joy Reid's show, who Rachel Maddow really liked. It was her fellow colleague, and she made some accusations against her own boss.
Both of our non-white hosts in primetime are losing their shows, as is Katie Fang on the weekend. And that feels worse than bad, no matter who replaces them. That feels indefensible. And I do not defend it.
And look, the reason why I'm referring to the left-leaning media as far as people not trusting the media, it's because statistically speaking, 65 to 70% of the mainstream media is left-leaning, and then you have 15 to 20%, which is a central neutral. So statistically speaking, it is the majority left-leaning media that's the issue.
Can we be real for a moment that Doge is not about cutting money, right? It's not about spending. It's about shrinking government so that it'll be too small to stop Trump with whatever else is in this plan.
Why would the government stop Trump? Isn't he the head of the government? You're saying the government would be too small to stop Trump. If Trump's the president, why would the government, the bureaucracy, be actively trying to stop him?
Because he is shredding the Constitution and creating an authoritarian dictatorship. That's why.
And no matter who is in office, I'm going to hold them accountable. But more importantly, I'm going to make sure the government is working for the American people.
Now, we are all entitled to our opinions, but Scott Jennings talks about this all the time, and stay tuned for this next clip because it's a masterpiece from Scott Jennings. He says this all the time. The more and more you hate Donald Trump, you're allowed to hate him, but if you have no facts behind your arguments, we all saw what happened during the election. Donald Trump won very easy, and people started to leave the Democratic Party and not trust Democrats or the left-leaning media. Check out this next clip.
Both of you all made an interesting point, which is that your view is that Trump is shredding the Constitution. I'd like to hear more about that. But that it seems to me that you all both believe that the unelected part of our government, the bureaucracy, has a responsibility to resist the political leadership. Is that your view?
That's not actually what we
not at
said.
all.
We said they are upholding the Constitution, the principles of the Constitution, and at times
how is Trump shredding the Constitution?
My God, he's like,
I mean, seriously,
He
do we
doesn't
have to
believe in
give
the
you a
balance of
civics
power,
lesson
Scott.
that we have?
I don't know,
that we put all power in the executive
How is
branch.
holding the government-
The legislative branch, the FBI. Now we're in control of the military. We're
Yes.
silencing media.
Commander-in-chief,
This
head
is
of
what
the
you
military.
do
The
in a
Supreme Court.
dictatorship.
Are you suggesting that the president is not the commander-in-chief of the military?
I am suggesting that the president is going to put in charge somebody who is going to contravene the Constitution. And at some near point, this conversation will look very silly for you because it will be obvious. And right now, you're gaslighting. But when we get to the actual rubber of the road of this, it will be clear.
I'm interested in this conversation. He's going to put someone in charge who will contravene the Constitution. Like who? What do you mean by that? The president is in charge of the military, is he not? You said he's going to put someone in charge.
Now, if you are unaware, that clip went pretty viral because even Elon Musk reposted the clip. He's a big Scott Jennings fan, but the majority of the comments were just in utter shock that somebody on CNN did not know that Donald Trump was in charge of the US military, and all of these accusations were being thrown at Elon and Donald Trump. People do not like when you do this if they don't have facts behind the arguments.
Pam Bondi has sent a letter demanding that it be sent to her tomorrow by 8 a.m. At that point, I imagine they will review the information, go through it, redact any personal identifying information and identities of victims, and continue to release this information in accordance with Trump's executive order.
Okay, so remember I told you at the beginning of the video, the Epstein files have been released, but not really. Right now, we are seeing some controversy within the Republican Party. A lot of people are super upset because the Epstein files have been blanked out, and also a government agency made a really weird prank that people are not happy about. Let's continue this story.
What you're going to see, hopefully tomorrow, is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information, but it's pretty sick what that man did.
So we were looking today to find out more about why the government's been so suspiciously protective of Jeffrey Epstein. This afternoon, a bunch of conservative influencers left a meeting at the White House with binders that said the Epstein files, phase 1. Once the binders were opened, people were able to see flight records and Epstein's Rolodex and a list of masseuses. The masseuses' names were blacked out, and the information from the flight logs wasn't new.
And you can leave your comments down below because a lot of people are super upset about this. A lot of conservatives, Republicans, and Democrats. The House Judiciary, GOP, their main government page on X, they posted Epstein file records, but when you click on the link, you get rickrolled. You know the song that's like, never gonna bring you up, never gonna bring you down, that song? In fact, they even got a community note on X saying the link they provided does not contain the Epstein files. The link plays a Rick Astley music video instead. And people are upset about this, saying, look, you guys are mocking the fact that a lot of people got their lives hurt because of this, and Americans have been wanting to know what's happening with these files.
When we began to feel duped, Pam Bondi released a letter that says, basically, I was duped too. In the letter addressed to FBI Director Kash Patel, Bondi basically says, I asked you for the full and complete files related to Jeffrey Epstein. I received 200 pages of documents. I asked if these were all the documents, and the FBI said yes.
Now, again, you guys can leave your comments down below. We can do an entire video just based off of this. Some people were upset that social media influencers got the documents, but the mass majority of people are upset in general the way this is all being handled as far as not taking this serious and Americans wanting to know what the heck are in the Epstein files. But again, what you do need to know is that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel are working together to get more information and more evidence released to the public.
We're seeing that Americans now are looking forward to perhaps a recession.
Can I respond to some of this? I've sat here patiently for this long speech. So it seems to me that Democrats are taking a three-pronged approach at attacking Donald Trump. One is openly rooting for the failure of the United States by wish-casting a recession, which is just an insane political strategy. Number two, wanting to pin their entire political future on keeping government as large or larger than it is now. And number three, continuing to claim that mass deportations or that getting the border under control is somehow a bad policy idea for the United States. I wholeheartedly hope that Maria is appointed to run the Democratic midterm strategy. Because if you're rooting for recession, for illegal immigration, and for a larger government, you're going to take a bath next November.
See, this is a problem because none of that is true, Scott. You know,
I just repeated back to you what you said, and I don't know why you don't agree with it. Those are everything you just
sweetheart.
said.
No, honey, I did not say that I'm rooting for a recession.
Now, something else we are also seeing in the left-leaning media, almost this attitude of you want failure, or we have already failed so bad that Rachel Maddow has this to say of the current status of the United States.
To hear from you that you understand the scale of the threat and you have ideas about how to interrupt what feels like something that we have not experienced since the Civil War in terms of the threat to our republic.
Now, turning back to the original theme of this video, Democrats turning on Democrats, I'm going to show you a video of somebody else from MSNBC who did not like how Rachel Maddow handled this conversation.
But the top leaders of the Democratic Party need to stop being milquetoast. I'll be very specific. Last night, Rachel Maddow's show, the leader Jeffries is on the show. Tell me if I'm wrong. You can at me on any social media platform if I'm wrong. I don't think any American watching that interview with leader Jeffries would have come away feeling defended deep in their heart in the middle of an autocratic takeover by that high-ranking Democrat.
Now, the reason why I love making these videos, I love to show you guys the total picture. Of course, Democrats turning on Democrats, that's kind of funny. However, when it's the media turning on the media who are left-leaning, this is all evidence to show you guys this is why people, they are not trusting the left-leaning media, and in turn, really the Democratic Party as well.
We have been talking about USAID and trying to pretend like it's the devil, but when we look at the numbers, is it 50% of our budget that goes to USAID, Mr. Unger? Yes or no?
The money that goes to AID is less than 1 cent if all of the federal budget is $1.
Thank you. It is less than 1% of our budget. So we are focusing on less than 1% instead of the other 99%. I need the American people to wake up and recognize and start asking questions about these other areas, such as the gentlelady's time has
Okay, so that is a Democrat congresswoman during a Doge committee hearing trying to convince the American public, like, look, USAID, that's only 1% of the budget. What's the problem? The reason why I'm playing this clip, it went mega viral, but that particular congresswoman, I have featured her on my YouTube channel. She likes to go on MSNBC or CNN, left-leaning media outlets, and say the same exact things that end up becoming the narrative, because why not? She's in government, we can trust her. But the point is, people trust Donald Trump and they trust Doge, and only 36% of Americans trust the media. So when a congresswoman is saying this and then going on the media, you can see how, statistically speaking, people are not even trusting our members of government, especially Democrats, when they start to say the same things on CNN or MSNBC.
So now you each have 30 seconds to tell us what is something you want to do in the next 30 years before you're 90.
It's been my dream for a long time to appear in a movie. So I'm going to shoot my shot with our overlords at Warner Brothers. I understand you make some movies and have for some years. I just want to be in a movie. I will do a nude scene, tasteful, or untasteful, but I just want a chance. I promise you, I will not disappoint you. You give me a chance, Warner Brothers. I've seen some of your movies. You could use new actors. I will literally kill it for you in a movie. Just give me 30 seconds on the big screen. I will do it.
Literally killing it would be bad.
I will do it.
Yeah. Okay, Scott. All right. It's been relayed to the people.
Now look, if you are still watching this video, I really appreciate it. The reason why I showed you that clip is because you do have outlets like CNN. They do have the ability to show the lighter side of media and the ability just to have fun. I think this is what Americans truly want, and you can leave your opinions down below if you agree with me or disagree with me. When we come to consume the news, it always ends up, very morbid or bad. We're in a civil war, but then you have Scott Jennings appear on CNN, which many people say is a left-leaning news outlet. Scott Jennings brings everyone together and just has a good time. And I just wanted to show you guys, CNN does have the ability to do this, to not report hate every single day and that the world is falling apart every single day.
Of the way things are. The Democrats are wrong by talking about resistance, because the public doesn't want resistance. They simply want these things done efficiently, effectively, and with accountability.
All right, I've played that clip before, but I think it's a reminder. If you are a Democrat watching this video, or if you do consume the left-leaning media, even Republican strategists are trying to help you and let you know the majority of Americans don't watch the left-leaning media. However, what is happening within Doge and Donald Trump, people approve of. Again, it's not the job of the news anchor to appease the American public. However, when you get on television and you start to say things that are not factual and are just emotional based, we are seeing the ratings decline. We saw Joy Reid get fired from MSNBC, and Rachel Maddow had to turn on her own bosses and call them out. Again, the status of the media right now is not good, specifically within the Democratic sphere, because if we're being honest with ourselves, the left-leaning media, of course, they're not always going to be super negative towards Democrats. I'm not saying there's an inherent bias. However, there's kind of a bias. It just is what it is. We can all accept that. But what I am saying is this. The more and more we see these emotional outbreaks, I truly think the more and more people are not going to watch the left-leaning media. I really want them to do better. I keep saying this and people get upset about it, but again, the reason why I want them to do better is so we could have a better discussion from all sides, a more coherent discussion based with facts, and we can all come together as Americans and form the greatest country the world has ever seen. Thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you guys later.